Wilder, and that ends the second. I think Ortiz, and you see the punches. Neither man has really landed anything definitive. Total punches thrown. There you saw. Just goes to show you that the heavyweights are so powerful. Both men respect each other. A considerable amount. The left to the body by Ortiz. Left hook by Deontay Wilder. Oh, there's a straight left that backed up Deontay Wilder. Wondering if Ortiz feels as if he has Wilder hurt. He backed up Wilder with that straight left. And Ortiz is changing his levels a little bit. Wilder trying to use feints.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Tristar Gym channel. Today's episode, we're going to be watching some of the heavyweight bout that just passed last week. Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz, an incredible heavyweight fight with an incredible ending. I'm sure all of you have, 99% of you have seen it, heard it. One of the best KOs probably ever in heavyweight boxing. So I'm going to give you guys a minute to come and get into the chat room. As usual, please give me a sound check. Thumbs up for a sound check, just to double check, making sure I'm not committing another blunder like I do so often. Please give me a sound check. Thumbs up. All right, T-Max, thank you, very appreciated. And also, I'm hoping to see, are you guys able to, I'm turning on the volume of the fight. I wonder if you guys are able to hear the fight, the actual fight between Ortiz and Wilder. Are you guys able to hear the background? All right, thank you for the thumbs up. Okay, guys, this was such an epic fight. Southpaw versus righty, rematch versus between Wilder and Ortiz. Here we are in round 3. For those of you who don't know, it ends all of a sudden in round number 7. We're not gonna watch the whole thing together, but I'm gonna let it play as I give you guys my my thoughts on the fight. I thought Luis Ortiz was winning the entire fight. I thought I had it 6 rounds to none for Luis Ortiz. Maybe 1 round for Wilder, maybe. However, we all know that Wilder, for those of you not familiar with Wilder, he is one of the greatest knockout artists in the history of boxing. Let me just double check his record now, but he's got like a 95 percentile knockout ratio. Let me look at his box record real quick here. And this KO, when you guys see this KO, for those of you who haven't seen it, when you see it later today, yes, 42 wins, 41 KOs. 41 KOs. And this is the second time he knocks out Luis Ortiz. But this KO, in my opinion, was one of the most devastating I've ever seen. And you guys, for those of you who haven't seen it, when you see it a little bit later in this episode, you will understand why. All right, I'm getting a word here that my voice is a little bit delayed. Not sure why that is. All right, not sure what that is, guys. Hopefully it picks up. Seth Pino, thank you. This is the most expensive mic I can. Seth was saying you can get a better mic. This is it, man. This is the Yeti mic. They told me it's the best one. It costs like $500-$600. I can't remember what I paid for it. I bought the best one. So if anybody has a recommendation on a better mic, please, I'm all ears. Sound is out of sync. Guys, this is we're gonna have to do with what we got here. So hopefully you guys are able to see the fight in the corner. Southpaw versus righty. Wilder not being able to land much jabs in this fight. Luis Ortiz being extremely careful the entire fight, being extremely well calculated. Famous Cuban boxer. For those of you who are not familiar, I know on this channel we're always talking about MMA, and sometimes we do talk about boxing. So a lot of you fans might be, a lot of you guys out there are more familiar with MMA fighters, not so much with the boxers. And that's why I'm going to give you guys some a little bit of the obvious sometimes for those fans who are not familiar with boxing. Luis Ortiz, a phenomenal boxer. He's the man in the white shorts. He's the southpaw, a killer boxer. In my opinion, was winning the first 6 rounds, at least 5, without any argument. I don't think anybody can argue that he didn't win at least 5 of those rounds. Wilder, however, didn't seem worried. Why? He's got the best KO power in the game. He's one of the great knockout artists in the history of boxing, and we're watching him here. Years from now, they're going to look back at his career, and they're going to marvel at his career. And we're seeing a living legend in the game today. So this is why it's such a key fight. Now, you guys heard me talk about the touch of death in the past. Wilder is the very definition of what the touch of death is. He is losing all the rounds, and he doesn't seem the least bit worried. Why? He knows that all he needs to do is connect one good shot. And no man alive, and don't forget he's a heavyweight boxer, no man alive can take this shot. At least we haven't seen a man who can take this shot. Now some of you are going to be like, well, he couldn't knock out Tyson Fury. Very true. Very, very true. That is maybe the only man alive who could take his shot. Okay, Deontay Wilder is something really special. Will he go undefeated for the remainder of his career? No, probably not. Even the greatest boxers of all time have defeats. However, he's a great candidate to go undefeated. Like Marky Marciano, the only heavyweight fighter to ever go undefeated, to win at the highest level and go truly undefeated. Because of course, heavyweight boxing is more volatile than the lighter weights. Now, we can say that Mayweather is undefeated. He can retire undefeated. Yes, that's true. But he wouldn't be the only one. In terms of heavyweight boxing, where it's lights out, if you get one good punch, it's lights out because there's so much power in the ring. These gentlemen are 6'7", 6'8". Tyson Fury, 6'9". We're talking about monstrously huge human beings. The human jaw can only take so much. So one shot can end the night. That's why it's so special to go undefeated in heavyweight boxing. It's something so rare to see if you're fighting at this level and you rack up all this level of experience. If you look at Klitschko, he's got like over 60 fights. If you're gonna fight a heavyweight over 60 times, it's you're rolling the dice 60 times. It's a very dangerous thing, simply because there's just so much KO power. If we look at K1, the heavyweight K1 tournaments, most fights end in knockout, and it's only 3 rounds. It's only just a handful of rounds, and almost all the fights end in KO. Why? It's just too much power in there. Now, I've worked with heavyweight boxers in the past, and I've had mitts for heavyweights. It's just another level. There's no way if these guys line up a good shot that it won't hurt an average person. Like it won't put them out. It's just such another level of power. Okay, so here we're in round 5. I'm going to skip towards the end here. And after I skip towards the end, we'll watch the KO. And we'll discuss it a bit. Then I'll open it up to comments and questions. Okay, so Deontay Wilder not jabbing as much as I thought he would in this fight because he has such a great reach. And Luis Ortiz fights kind of like a little bit more compact. I thought he'd work the jab more. But Luis never gave him a good opportunity to jab. And Luis was just on the ball with his defense. His defense was really on the ball. And I imagine that he was very nervous about getting hit with that right hand. So it doesn't surprise me that he was so defensively minded. But in the 7th round, which we're going to watch in a little bit, Luis actually lands some really nice strikes. And then you see his composure change. He kind of had a smirk on his face. He's kind of like, yeah, come on, let's do this. I'm going to finish you. Because don't forget, Luis Ortiz is also a very powerful puncher. He doesn't have, in my opinion, he doesn't have the touch of death like Wilder does. But he is also a very powerful puncher. He is King Kong. He's a monstrous puncher. However, that success he had in round 7, which we're going to watch right now, I think kind of made him a little bit overconfident, and he dropped his shields a little bit, because you could see all the way from round 1 to round 6, he was on the ball with his defense. He was ultra quick with his defense. He was so defensively minded. However, once he had some success in round 7, I think he smelled blood, and he kind of like felt he had Wilder's number, and he was going to put him away. And that was the window. Let's watch that right now. I'm gonna fast forward a little bit towards the end of the round here. All right, this is the last minute of round 7. The fight's about to end now. Okay, so we're gonna see Ortiz land some nice shots. He's gonna also land a beautiful body shot. See, you could see Ortiz, he's kind of like smirking. Wilder threw his right hand, he's kind of smirking. He's defending them beautifully. It seems like there's no home for Wilder's right hand right now. This entire fight, there seemed to be no home for Wilder's right hand, and we're going to see Ortiz get clipped here in a little bit.
Left hook to the body by Wilder.
There's that body shot from Ortiz. There's a beautiful jab. Another beautiful body shot. Seemed to have wobbled Wilder here. He hit him also with a short left hook to the chin. And now look at Ortiz's composure. Completely changes. Overhand left.
Now Wilder needs to get back in the center as King Kong trudges forward.
And that's it. That's all it took. Incredible. We're going to have to see the replay on that shot. That is an incredible shot. You'll notice that Ortiz got caught up against the ropes, which is a great way. When you have somebody up against the ropes, it's a lot easier to connect with your target. Just having that barrier behind your opponent just kind of gives you a visual of where he is exactly. And it's just much more easier to sandwich your opponent between your strikes and the ropes. Ortiz was doing a beautiful job of controlling the center of the ring the entire fight. The second he got up against the ropes, he kind of chased he kind of chased Wilder a little bit instead of cutting him off, and he got clipped with that right hand. He's been avoiding the entire fight. All right, the replay is going to come up shortly. I don't want to touch the buttons here because I don't want to miss this exact. It's going to be a bit hard to find. Watch this incredible KO. Incredible KO here. Watch this replay. It's coming up in a little bit. Amazing how Wilder stayed calm, losing round after round. Didn't seem to bother him at all. He had the entire fight to land that right hand. He had extreme. He seemed to have extreme confidence that he was going to score another KO, as he should. He's KO'd almost every single opponent except one. He's KO'd every single man he's ever faced except one. Ortiz was almost flawless the whole way through. And you'd think that the further the fight goes, the more confident you are that you're not going to get KO'd. Here it is. Watch this. It goes a little bit up against the ropes. That's going to give Wilder a little bit more precision. And boom, there it is. When I first watched it, I thought he hit Luis on kind of on the forehead here. Let's see where he lands it. Yeah, it is on the forehead. I was right. Because now when I rewatched the replay, I thought maybe he hit him a little bit more below the cheek here. But no, he definitely hit him on the forehead, the skull here. This is a harder place to knock somebody out. Like if you hit them on the jaw, that's really good. If you hit them on the chin, that's the best. Okay, so the chin is the number one spot because there's so much more leverage to whip your head around. And there's that rotational whip. And you'll notice that most men get knocked out when they have this rotational whip. However, he hit him on the top of the head, kind of like right here, bing. And when you hit a man right here like this, you gotta have a lot of power to knock them out. Sometimes when you get hit there, you'll see sparkle, you'll see lights, you see the light show. But you won't get knocked out. This time he got totally knocked out, and that shows how much power Wilder has. Incredible performance. A legendary heavyweight. We're watching him in action. A brilliant career. I can't wait to see him either fight Tyson Fury again or the winner of this weekend's bout between Ruiz and Joshua. Very much looking forward to those heavyweight fights. Okay, guys, with that said, let me open it up to your comments and questions. What did you think about this epic fight, this epic rematch between Luis Ortiz and Deontay Wilder? I think I might have screwed up the audio as usual. All right, guys, how's this? Is this any better? All right, coach, comment on front hand fighting. it can be hard to the one thing when you're front hand fighting, when you're a righty versus a southpaw. We both have our jabs constantly touching each other. We're always stepping on each other's toe because our lead sides are so close to one another. It's just, I feel it makes it a lot harder to land a jab, but a lot easier to land a cross, which I feel like whenever I would spar, or I would train a fighter to spar, whenever I train a fighter, I always try to put a southpaw in the sparring, always. So if you're sparring, if you're getting ready to fight a right-handed fighter and you're a right-handed fighter, I always like to add a southpaw in at least one of your rounds. Why? Because I feel like you should spar southpaws and righties always interchanged in your training until it doesn't make a difference anymore. That you're fighting a righty or a southpaw, it doesn't matter to you. You got to get to that point, that level where it doesn't matter to me whether the guy's a righty or southpaw, because I've seen fighters who fight so well when they're fighting another orthodox fighter, but fight so horribly when they're fighting a southpaw because they just don't understand the angle. And actually, you'd be quite surprised how many times that happens. And also, a southpaw who cannot fight another southpaw, he's just totally uncomfortable or inefficient when he's fighting another southpaw. Why? Because now the tables are turned. He's always used to being in open stance, and all of a sudden now he finds himself in a closed stance, and it's kind of choking all his moves. So that's why I'm always making it a point for my fighters: spar with a southpaw all the time, whether you're a righty or a lefty. Make sure that you get very comfortable fighting a righty or a southpaw, and it shouldn't make a difference. Because those kind of things where you can't find your jab because the southpaw, the way he's angled, you're gonna develop other favorite shots, because it is harder to jab a southpaw. I find it much harder depending on how his stance is. And you could see that Deontay didn't really score any significant jabs in the fight, and neither really did Luis. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't be a great jabber if you're a southpaw. Not at all. You could be a phenomenal jabber. It's just that sometimes the way my opponent is positioned, it's just easier for him to defend against the jab. Hopefully you can fix this blue belt in streaming. Okay, fix it with his blue... Listen, I'm doing my best here. Echo. There's still an echo going on? Shouldn't be no echo. Audio is bad. Oh boy, really? Damn, I don't know what the difference is. This is how I set it up all the time. Try to lower the speaker volume. It is a maximum low. Maximum low. Mute speaker. How's that? It should be completely muted. Everything should be completely muted. Venom Musk. Yes, I need a classic button pushing. Please try to fix. Maybe your speakers are too close to the mic, guys. Okay, guys, listen. What I'm going to do is I'm going to shut it down. I might just have to shut it down and restart it. This thing's supposed to be working perfectly right now. Still an echo. Ghosts. Damn it. Alright, guys, if there's an echo, I'm just going to have to shut it down and restart it. They're trolling. Sound is fine. Oh, I don't know. It sounds like my sound is pretty horrible. Alright, guys, I'm going to restart the stream. I think that's what it is, because everything seems to be right on my end. Let me restart the stream and we'll pick it up from there.